Greetings, comrades. Today I'll be talking a little bit about the riots which occurred last night in Tottenham. Tottenham is an area of London, for those who don't know. Reportedly, about 300 rioters damaged many buildings in Tottenham. There was looting, and over 40 police officers and an unknown number of protesters or rioters, depending on your point of view, were injured. And as of today, no one is reported to have died in the incident, though that is still a possibility. The event was sparked off by the shooting of a 29-year-old Mark Duggan, who had allegedly shot a police officer from the Special Firearms Command Unit, that's an armed unit of the Met Police in London. The officer's body armour protected him from the shot, and he then killed Duggan with 2 shots from a Heckler & Glock MP5 submachine gun. The incident is still being investigated, so I'll refrain from talking too much about the actual incident of who did what, as I do not have all the facts. That, however, is part of the problem. 2 days later, a large protest of roughly 50 family members and those from the local community, frustrated at the lack of information and support for the Duggans family, staged a peaceful demonstration outside the local police station, demanding to speak to a high-ranking police official, which they were never able to. After about after about 4 hours of waiting, a confrontation allegedly occurred between a female protester and a policeman, and the female was allegedly pushed, which enraged the protesters, with violence quickly escalating. Shops and homes were burned down and looted, as well as some police vehicles being destroyed, with a riot that lasted well into the next day. Local residents have reported a long-lasting sense of alienation and antagonism between the community and the police, ever since riots which occurred in the same area 25 years ago, again set off by the death of a local resident, a 45-year-old woman, and that also led to the death of a police officer in the hands of rioters on that day. So what significance does this event bear? Well, there are 2 elements to consider here: those who acted out of antipathy towards the police or the government, and those who used the chaos as an opportunity to loot. This incident was very much spontaneous, though social media like Twitter was reportedly used to try and draw more people into the riot. The antipathy towards the authorities and the police appears to be rooted in a perceived racist stance taken against the black and Asian members of the community. Residents reported an increase in stop and search and racial profiling, as well as a lack of support and interest towards members of the community and their needs, thus alienating the community from the police. In the wake of the financial crisis, living conditions in an already low-income area have dropped, and with some 75% of government-funded youth services being cut. Unemployment, especially amongst youth, is very high, and there's a lack of opportunities and difficulty in getting by, and that's caused many to become frustrated and has unsurprisingly led to violence, as we saw last night. As there's also been, of course, a massive rise in crime, both drug, knife and gun related. So it's again unsurprising that the event was used by some to loot goods, food, drinks, etc., phones, televisions and whatnot from the local shops and businesses. It should not be underestimated how much of a difference the government-funded youth services make to young people's lives. I know this because I made use of them myself. They helped me a great deal. They give good advice, emotional support, opportunities to gain training and qualifications, and basically generally helping give a young person a sense of self-confidence. Those in poorer areas desperately need this kind of support in an increasingly grim economic situation, as they provide an alternative to crime and a way to get out of poverty. However, the problem goes deeper than just economics though. I feel much of the cause of this violence can be attributed to the relationship between the police and the community. As I said, the community feel alienated from the police. They do not trust them or view them as a force of protection. Rather, they are viewed as an external and aggressive force with negative intentions towards them. And the shooting of Mark Duggan, along with their lack of information and support towards the family, has deepened that mistrust. And the lack of transparency in police operations has, in the minds of some disenfranchised or alienated people in the community confirm the police's status as an external belligerent threat towards them. This is why Marxists call for the replacement of bourgeois state police with a democratic people's police force. So what does this consist of? Community members interested in protecting the well-being of their local area are nominated, and if found suitable, if they have the respect of their peers, they are elected to the role and provided with the equipment and training needed to carry out this role. Their activities must be kept as transparent as possible, except in the case of an investigation or operation which does require secrecy, i.e., for example, counter-terrorism. This could be handled by a separate organisation, but I would be suspicious of this on the basis of not wanting to repeat the crimes of the Stasi or the KGB, the injustices they caused, and the lack of transparency and democratic accountability they're secret police. But some people will say that, a lack of some kind of secret police force will put people kind of more at risk. But I'll quote Benjamin Franklin. I believe he said, anyone who would trade eternal liberty with temporary safety deserves neither liberty nor safety, which is a fantastic quote, and I think kind of proves that. The American revolutionaries were hardcore revolutionaries. They may not have been communist, as communism did not exist in those days, but they are definitely hardcore revolutionaries. I'd encourage you all to take a look at it. Anyway, elected police officers could also be replaced and recalled at any time, subject to the conditions required to do this. For example, being voted out or petitioned against. This method, I feel, brings several benefits. The officers are members of the community and have been chosen by the people on the basis of their skills and their moral standing amongst the people. They are not strangers to the people. They are known and therefore can be more trusted by the people, as they are not strangers. They also know all the people. They have a good idea who's likely to cause trouble and the problems faced by specific sections of the community. And as they themselves are residents, they have a stake in maintaining the cohesion of the community as well. And as their own social standing amongst the people will play a part in them remaining at that post. They also have the consent of the people. They are fully accountable. Residents do not have to wait long periods of time or for inquiries or to cut through masses of red tape to ensure that justice is being carried out. The downside, of course, is that the identity of the officers is known, which could make them a target, for example, gangs or people with a grudge. But I guess it's a trade-off. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this idea, if you want to expand on it, so just send in your ideas and comments. In a way, this event has kind of really reaffirmed my belief in Leninism against aspects of left communism's belief in spontaneous action of the masses. Though I do consider myself in many ways to be a Luxemburgist, I guess you could call me a left Leninist. I believe this incident is an act of class struggle, albeit a disorganised and completely spontaneous one, which amounted essentially to a random act of violence. The community has legitimate grievances related both to their economic positions and the role of the state police in their communities, but the lack of organisation and ideology in this act has meant that the effects of the riot are pretty negative, mostly because the majority of the property destroyed in the riot was that of the working class and the petty bourgeois class. The homes and cars of working people, as well as all of their possessions, were destroyed, which of course damages their lives, damaging the lives of working people. The local economy was also damaged, as small independent shops whose stocks were stolen and structures damaged. While, of course, Marxists are not wholly supportive of the petty bourgeois businesses, we acknowledge them to be an alternative in the face of bourgeois domination in a capitalist society, in the hopes that they one day would be proletarianised as part of the economic transformation in the process of building socialism. How this would be achieved is a subject for a different video. However, my method certainly would not involve any gulags, that I promise you. But anyway, jobs have been lost and the economy in the area has been damaged, which can only make life harder for the residents. However, rioters did burn down Aldi, which in my eyes is the ultimate symbol of class struggle. The lack of targeting only bourgeois property and the allowing of opportunistic looting and destruction of working class property has allowed what could have been a legitimate protest against a questionable police action and poor standards of living to become an act of senseless violence, which no doubt the far right will be quick to blame on immigrants, multiculturalism, blacks, or whatever else has got their goat recently. The rioters have delegitimised their own cause and in the process given a sense of legitimacy towards the fascist BNP and the xenophobic EDL. Round of applause, comrades. Great fucking job. This is why we need revolutionary organisation, or in this case any organisation, to avoid collateral damage, to maintain legitimacy and to win the favour of the masses in order to achieve the goals and avoid hurting those most vulnerable in these situations, the poor in our communities. As I said, you know, this was essentially, it was a legitimate process and it just degenerated into selfish stealing, destruction, random violence, and it's damaged their own cause and it's legitimised the cause of those whose interests are not in that of the working class. So, as I said, while I say, you know, I feel, well, they're angry, they have a right to be angry, but, you know, think before you act. Anyway, if you have any comments, new information, anything you want to add about any of the subjects I've talked about today, you know, send in your comments. So, thanks for watching.